So we're going to be looking at some low-cost ways to build Mek Gunz for the orcs. In 8th edition, these were spammed all over the board, but in 9th edition, they're still valuable, although you won't see quite as many. They're also a very expensive model to buy, and a lot of people just don't want to spend $50, $60 for one unit. And so I've looked into the way I can make them the cheapest I possibly could, starting with a bag of these Toy Essential 12-piece desert cannons, 4-inch size. Super cheap, $13 in the US. And then this bag of Platoon building bricks, which you see here that I've transferred into a case. They're Lego knockoff, and they used to have a wheels kit, which I don't think is still available. But yeah, you can find bags with lots of these pieces. Basically, what you're looking for are these pieces, the wheel assemblies, and like the little steering wheels and stuff like that. You might have to get a different set than I've got here because it's sporadically available. But put the wheels together and you've got a great option. I'm sure a lot of orc converters have used these already. All right, so let's take a quick look at the overall scope of this project. This is what we want to build. We want to build the final mech cannon. This is the actual model. And so it's a good model. You can magnetize it for easy swap of the different types of guns. Here's my model, primed and similarly scaled and built, also magnetized, so I can swap it. And then here's the same or a similar model before priming to kind of show the overall build of what parts are plastic card, what other little fiddly bits that I've put on there. And then we have the base. The base is this 4-inch toy cannon. And so you start by popping off the wheels and then just generally disassembling it. And then we're going to build it back up. So first we need to clean up the area where we're going to be putting the wheels and build the wheel assembly. Trimming down the axle that was already there from the existing wheel creates a really nice mount that we can glue the new wheels that more match the actual scale that we're trying to hit. Having big meaty wheels that are really hugging in close to the body of the cannon is one of the main things that sells the look of these Mek Gunz. Next we'll be working on the front shield assembly. The first thing we want to do is trim it down so that it more matches the scale that we're going for, and to give us a couple extra pieces to play around with. Trying to use as much of the original model as you can is a great way to challenge yourself to think more creatively. Here I'm going to use the mounting brackets that held the shield to the original model as feet on struts that will be part of the final assembly. We'll also need something to hold our new shield to our new base, and good old sprue always comes in handy for that. You can also use the little round bit as the sprue to kind of like fake an axle. At least that's what I told myself when I was putting this together. So let's take a closer look at the struts underneath. You can see that I've used those flanges from the front shield as feet, and they do an okay job. I've had a little strut or brace to keep it kind of stronger. And I've left the round things on the sprues. I think they're called the gates. to act as extra detail. So just trim off an appropriate length of straight sprue, and then clean up, as Miniature Hobbyist has lovingly dubbed them, the nibbly knobbly bits. And just make sure they're about the right length. You know, you can keep them uniform if you want, or not. These are orcs. They really don't care about uniformity. That's one of the beautiful things about being an orc modeler, is you can make perfectly fieldable units out of just the most random stuff. Straight up garbage, you know, all the way up to, you know, super fine detailed toys and resin casts. Next, we're going to be building up some sidewalls to go around where the main cannon's going to be. These just kind of help, like, define it as something different, you know, more off-roady than other cannons are normally want to be. Orcs like to make sure everything can do a full 4x4 off-road experience. It's, you know, they like to get down and dirty in the mud, because that's what they grow out of. Here you can see I've cut the remainder of that front shield in half, and I'm playing around with it to see where it fits, to see what looks good. And I really like the way that this works, and so I'm going to go ahead and just glue it onto that and call it a day. So now we want to work on the main cannon. And what I've done is I've basically like flipped it upside down from the original layout on the toy. And I'm trimming off some of the excess length to kind of make it squatter and to have the actual like weapon tip like closer to the base, so it all looks more compact and orky. Like flipping it upside down gives me a nice like way to kind of mount it into that groove with some glue, and it also exposes a lot of cool detail and makes it look more, you know, that kind of orky steampunk hybrid look. So there you have it, the finished base assembly. This is actually usable. Like, you could theoretically paint this up, prime it, paint it, put it on the field, you know, put some orky decals on it and call it a day, and most players that you play with will be perfectly okay with that. But, of course, being orcs, we're going to put a whole lot of gubbins on it. So stick around as we blast through a ton of detail work. I'm going to catch up with you on the back side of that. Go! Hopefully that detail blast will be useful for you. Just remember that the details really can be almost anything with orcs. Ramshackle is in their design by nature. You don't have to worry about if it looks like it makes sense or not. The less it makes sense, the more orky it is. So enjoy yourself. Now we're going to work on a quick gun tip. I use the wheels that we pulled off at the very beginning to kind of create a hub and spoke. And then I have a bunch of old miscellaneous bits in my bits box that come in really handy for this kind of stuff. Some of you might recognize those as RoboGear pieces. They are indeed, and I've had them for probably close to a decade now. I believe you can still find them online. They're extremely useful, especially for your orky stuff, and well worth hunting down. I even raid the craft box for a bead for the tip because I wanted something kind of like a geodesic like ball. And then I eventually paint this all metal. So that's it. I hope this will be helpful for you to put together your own amazingly cheap Mek Gunz. I think all total, if I built 12 of these from what I bought, they would be about $2 a pop, maybe $3. But, you know, what I have at the end of the day is a bunch of Mek Gunz that are mine, that feel great, that look great, and that I'm happy with. And that's the most important part. All right, catch you later.